Principles of Management students, how are you? It is week 11 in our progress here. The semester, as you already know, we have blown through the midterm portion. Now have reached that portion of the semester where we're kind of just heading downhill. We're going to go through these chapters pretty quickly. I know you had a tough couple of weeks. I get it. I think that you guys have done well, though. Most of you have done pretty good in your midterms, so you're heading the right direction. Couple of things I would like to discuss with you before we continue. One, had some questions in regards to which grade am I using. I am using what's called the weighted grade. If you recall from the syllabus, every portion of your assignments are weighted a little differently. So in the weighted grade, I take that all into account. Your grade as of today is updated up to the midterm. If there is a discrepancy that you feel has occurred, you need to get with me and we can work together on figuring out why and how we can do to resolve that issue. We are in week 11, which is chapter 11, motivating people. I do want to give you a couple of key points I want you to know about that. There is a video, which is from The Office, a TV show that I thought hilarious when it relates to some business topics. In this particular case, fits perfectly in with our chapter in regards to motivating people. How do you motivate your employees to reach a goal? How do you get people around you that work for you to do their job and do it well? So that's what the chapter is going to focus on, and it's going to start off in regards to setting goals, the goal setting theory, which states that people have a conscious goal. They know that there's something that we need to accomplish, and that energizes them and it directs them to behave towards a certain way. Well-crafted goals are highly motivated. Some people use the term SMART goals, which are specific and measurable, attainable, realistic, and timed goals. So you're able to put a goal out there for your employees that are not too far-fetched that they're going to give up on it. If the goal is way too hard to accomplish, people tend to get demotivated. They don't feel encouraged to reach it. But if it's obtainable and realistic, then there's a motivation that's created out of that. Stretch goals is another way of putting that. Is a target that is exceptionally demanding. You push people to get somewhere, but it's not impossible. Sometimes it does. Some people feel that those stretch goals are way too far for them. But that's part of the motivation portion. The other one we want to talk about is behaviors and consequences to that. The book and the chapter deals with what's called positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. We use this throughout our lives. I always use in class when I lecture, I always use the example of a puppy that we have. And by the way, it's not by my choice. If you've taken my classes, you know my feelings towards having and now being a owner of a dog. But we always use these negative and positive reinforcements, which is crazy, but it's a very useful tool in our world, in our lives, and to encourage behavior or to stop a behavior. When my puppy was being potty trained and he went outside and he did his business out there, we would reward him. We would give him a positive reinforcement. We would clap for him. Oh, great job, great job. And we will give him a treat so that that behavior will be reinforced. Every time he had to go to the bathroom, he knew to go outside because there was a treat going to be rewarded to him. Well, negative reinforcement is removing something or withholding something that's undesirable consequences. Of course, there's always the punishment, which we're used to in regards to like discipline of children. Whatever your discipline style is, timeout or whatever method you want. And then there's extinction, which is withdrawing or failing to provide a reinforcement out of consequences. Some of the things that I also think that are extremely important in this chapter, let's see. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. In Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we are going to find that there are several levels, and the book will describe it in a little better terms than I would, but it has a pyramid sort of that goes up, and the higher you go up in that, you have to complete the bottom stage first, and then you move on, which is a sociological need, which is like food and water and sex, shelter. That's the more basic needs of humanity. And Maslow says that people need to fulfill that need to be able to go to the next need. And the next need, of course, safety and security, protection against threats. That's our second need. And once that's fulfilled, we move up to the next level, which is a social need, which deals with our friendships, our affections, our belonging to something, feeling love. And then we go up to the ego, which is an independence or interdependence, achievement, freedom, status, recognition, self-achievement. That's that level right before the top level that Maslow claims to be self-actualization, when a person feels realized. I have completed my full potential, becoming everything one is capable of being. So Maslow describes his pyramid or his hierarchy of needs as being one that has to go from level to level to level. Maslow also suggests that you cannot jump from one to the other. You can't skip a step. You have to fulfill that lower step to be able to accomplish that higher step. So something that to consider as a manager when you are looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Some of the concerns Maslow's theory brings to us is that it's very simplistic and doesn't allow for accurate theory of human motivation. There's other things that could be motivating you that are not associated to this pyramid or to this hierarchy. Not everyone progresses through the 5 needs in the hierarchy order. So not everyone goes through them. So Maslow does give us a good foundation, but there are some concerns about them. It does identify some important categories that we need to be aware of when we're dealing with motivation. There are a few more that are similar that build sort of upon that. I think you need to just kind of read through them, some of those things that will help you. Always consider also 2 types of motivators. The extrinsic motivator, which are usually given in a reward form. Like an intrinsic is if I told you as a sales staff, hey, whoever produces the most sales this week will get a $100 gift card to Longhorn. That's extrinsic on the outside. That's something that I am going to give you. And then there's the intrinsic reward, which is derived directly from performing your job. So if you are a kindergarten teacher, or better yet, if you are some type of social worker or you're doing something to help someone, your reward is the fact that you feel like you did something good. If you go to a volunteer at a non-for-profit, at a soup kitchen, and at the end of the day, they don't give you a check, but you feel good that you did something for the community or for your fellow citizens, that's an intrinsic reward. It's a powerful driver and a powerful motivator. So the extrinsic, as you can imagine, I give you a $100 gift card. You're all excited about your job, but consider how long will that last? How long would that motivating feeling last for you? Would it take a week, 2 weeks? My thought is after you eat that Longhorn and you're done with it, you're probably done. That motivator's over. It's unless something else is driving you to do more. But the intrinsic reward is of something very interesting because it's something that lasts longer. When you feel fulfilled about your job, when you feel good about your job, that intrinsic reward will motivate you. And there's different things that businesses can use to help motivate people, but that's something to consider. There's more stuff, but I won't keep you on this video for long. I suggest you read through them. Some of them, of course, I would like you to know is the equity theory. That's very important in business and comes to motivation and people who have low morale, right? The equity theory stating that people assess how fairly they are being treated according to two key factors, outcomes and inputs. If I am working and my coworkers working the same job and they're getting paid more, I feel there's an equity issue. They're not treating me the same. Something's wrong. So if I am giving this much and they're giving that much, we should be treated equally. Now, in the equity theory, there's ways to balance that out, without having to pay someone more. Someone has to come to that point in their mind or in their heart to say, well, that person is getting paid more than I do because they've been here longer, or they have more seniority, or know more than I do. So it balances it out, and you go, okay, I get it. So that's why they get paid. So equity theory is important. Expectancy theory is another one that you should consider reading a little more into. Is the theory of proposing that people will behave based upon a perceived likelihood that what their efforts are doing is going to reward them. So if I work hard enough, I am going to get rewarded for that. The efforts that I put will lead to some type of action. So read a little more on that. There's a couple things to equity theory to expectancy theory that you will need to understand and know. And I am going to leave it at that for now. If you have any questions, please let me know. Remember to watch the video. I think it's a funny video. You don't have to watch it, but I think it does explain very well what happens when someone gets motivated. And then last thing you need to do is there is a video in regards to Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat. Is it a blessing or is it a curse? And you're going to watch a video. You don't have to watch the whole video, but definitely watch the first few minutes, 5 minutes of Monica Lewinsky. And for some of you know who she is, especially now with the heated debates, but see what happened from her perspective, not necessarily what happened in the White House, of course, but what happened after her life took off and some of the social media issues that she had. And you're going to tell me, you're going to discuss how do business leaders deal with that? How do we deal with social media? How would you as a manager use or not use social media? So I appreciate you guys. Sorry the video's so long, but we'll talk to you soon. Have a wonderful day.